Today's video is specifically for international students and how you can save money outside of the usual tips. These are practical Australia-specific hacks that will help you make the most out of your time here without breaking the bank. So let's talk about how to save money as an international student in Australia. I know how overwhelming it can be when you first arrive, from figuring out your accommodation to balancing study with work. But trust me, these tips will make a difference. Number one is to maximize student discounts, and I'll tell you how. Australia loves students, and there's so many discounts available to you as an international student, way more than you realize. So tip one is to actually apply for a student ID card and ask everywhere you go if they have a student discount and show your ID. Take it everywhere. If you're here as an international student, there's no doubt your university will tell you to get your student ID card, but make sure you get it quick so you can get the most out of the discounts. You can use it in retail shops, on movie tickets, and even some restaurants. A lot of places offer 10 to 20% off just by showing your student ID card. Tip two is to also carry an ID that has your birth date on it, because a lot of the places here will offer you free stuff on your birthday just by showing your ID card that will have your birthday on it. Everywhere you go, you'll get something for free or on a discount. Like I know Krispy Kreme does free donuts on birthdays, so you can get treated even more on that day. Tip three is to use uni days and student beans for online deals. When I heard about platforms like uni days and student beans that actually make it easier for you to get student discounts, I loved it. These websites offer discounts on clothing, tech, software, and even fitness subscriptions. Whether you're shopping for textbooks or getting a new laptop, these deals are a lifesaver as a student. So I'm telling you, Australia understands how hard it is as a student, so make the most out of these deals. There's also another app that I really love for meal deals. It's called eClub, and it's a game changer. I still use it. It's not just for students, where you can get discounts at restaurants and bars on their low times, so you can go there and make the most out of it and get great food and drinks, hopefully at a cheaper rate. Tip four is to take advantage of public transport deals. Now, don't get it confused. There's no deal per se, but there are peak hours that are more expensive that you might not know. Getting around Australia can be expensive, especially in cities like Sydney, like I am, or Melbourne, but there are ways to cut down your transport costs. If you're in Sydney or New South Wales, you can save a lot by traveling during off-peak hours. Public transport is much cheaper outside of those busy periods, because normally in those periods they try to speed it up and get people to their destination quicker, and that's why it's more expensive. So if your classes or part-time work schedule is flexible, avoid peak hours and take advantage of cheaper fares. Also, in most Australian cities, I believe, and at least in Sydney, after you spend a certain amount on your Opal card, which is your transport card here, you won't get charged for additional trips for the rest of the week. You can plan your trips early in the Opal card app, and when you hit that cap, you can enjoy free rides after that. And in Sydney, you can use your credit card as well to travel, but here's the big hack. Make sure you go into the Opal app and connect your card to your Opal so that you still get those deals or discounts that Opal customers have. Because when you're paying with your card, it doesn't apply, those little hacks. Because I believe if you travel on an Opal card twice in the same hour, you won't get charged the second time. You only get charged the first fare if you travel in the same hour or 30 minutes or something like that. Don't quote me on it, do your research, but that's what I've heard and confirmed at one point in time. I don't know if it's still the same, to be honest. But it constantly has those little hacks if you have an Opal card, but you can still take advantage of those if you link your card to Opal in the app. Another tip is to save on groceries. Food is one of the biggest expenses for international students because you've got to eat, but there are some awesome ways to save on groceries and eating out without sacrificing quality. You can go shop at farmers markets for fresh produce. Farmers markets are great for fresh local produce at the fraction of the cost of supermarkets. They usually happen on weekends, and the best part, if you go towards the end, vendors are more likely to give you discounts just to clear out their stock. So I know Paddy's markets in Flemington and in Chinatown They have fresh produce, and I can't believe the rates sometimes, because if you go to the supermarket, lettuce is at least $2, but at the farmer's market, it's like in cents or $1 at the max, which is crazy to me because it's the same stuff, but just because it's at a supermarket and they want to make profit, it's way higher. And also, if you do choose to go to supermarkets, try to go after 9 o'clock, because I believe that's when they have most things on discounts, because they're going off, or they just want the new stock to come in tomorrow, so they want to get rid of the current stock. So they will usually place deals after 9 o'clock to get rid of that stuff. Some of the apps that I found to save on your groceries as well are like Too Good To Go and Why Waste. These apps are game changers for saving on food. Too Good To Go and Why Waste let you buy unsold food from restaurants, cafes, and bakeries at heavily discounted prices. You get to enjoy delicious food while also reducing food waste, so it's a win-win. I've personally never tried it, but give it a go. If I knew this in my student life, I might have tried it, because it doesn't sound like a bad deal to me. Another big expense that I had was accommodation, as I remember in my student life. That is one of the biggest expenses I had to sort out first thing when I came to Australia and decide how much I want to spend on my accommodation. And if you're not keen on living alone like I was, or still am to this day, shared housing or homestays can be a much cheaper option. So consider shared housing, or even sharing your room. Websites like flatmates.com.au or Facebook groups are a great way of finding shared accommodation where you can split rent and utilities with other people that are traveling or students as well. And shared housing can look like having housemates or even having roommates. I've had roommates when I was a student, and I had someone else living in the same room as me. We had different beds sometimes, but that's how I could afford to stay near campus and in a nicer area close to uni, and it was just convenient at the time. I don't know if I could do it again. After that, I mainly went on to private rooms in a share house, which is an option that most people choose. And do remember, Australia has a lot of travelers, so when it comes to rent, don't be afraid to negotiate, especially if it's a private landlord or landlady. If you're going through a real estate agency, they probably won't budge that much, but you can still try. If you're staying in one place for a longer period of time, ask your landlord if they can offer you a discount for longer leases, because most times rent will be seasonal. They might be charging that rent for that season, and the next season it will change again. So just make sure you have a good rate. Talk to your landlord. Many landlords are open to negotiating, specifically if they want a reliable tenant who will stay longer and save them the hassle of finding someone time and time again. And if you want to make the most of your student life in Australia, you have to make the most of the free entertainment as well. Australia has a lot of amazing free activities that don't require to spend a cent. So explore free events, museums, and beaches. There are beautiful beaches, hiking trails, free museums, and city events. And there's so much to do that won't cost you a thing. You can go on the City of Sydney website if you're in Sydney to check out the events happening around Sydney and filter it by cost. You can also check out apps like Meetup to find free festivals, concerts, and social activities in your city, and to meet people, of course. Even use apps like Bumble to find people to go to these events with. And because you're an international student, most university will have a ton of free or low cost activities for students, whether it's gym discounts, social clubs, or discounted event tickets. Take full advantage of these perks while you can, because I know I can't right now. I miss uni events, and now I have to pay full price every time. And the last tip is kind of an obvious one, but working part-time or having casual work is one of the best ways that you can offset your living expenses. But it's also important to know where to look for those jobs that offer decent pay and flexible hours, because you'll be studying heaps. Firstly, I recommend check out on-campus jobs and internships, because they're always well paid and they're so convenient because they're right on campus, and it can help you get involved in student life a bit more as well. And they are very aware of student schedules, so they will be flexible. Keep an eye on your university's job board for positions like research assistant, library work, or even tutoring. And leverage Australia's high minimum wage. Australia has one of the highest minimum wages in the world, which means even casual work like retail or hospitality can help you earn a decent income while you study. Look for jobs in cafes, retail stores, or as a tutor. You'll be surprised at how quickly all that can add up and offer you some decent pay, so you can save more as an international student. I hope those non-generic Australia-specific tips helped you to get an idea of how you can save money as an international student. I know managing finances can be a tough thing to start and think about, so feel free to message me on Instagram about any questions you have and I'll be happy to answer them. There are also resources in the description to help you accelerate your study and work in Australia. It has my application sample for how I got a scholarship, which is another great way to save, and a couple other links so you know that you are well informed before you come here. Make sure to support this video and my channel for more videos like this, and leave me a comment on any other topic you'd like me to cover and I'd be happy to do so. I'll see you next time.